It's a sad situation.
NFL legend Shannon Sharpe. A brand new lawsuit was just filed in Nevada claiming Sharpe was manipulative and abusive and eventually a Jane Doe.
I can't sit here and speak to his innocence or guilt.
If you say that one more time, I'm going to choke out of you when I see you.
Shannon Sharpe's entire empire is teetering on the edge. The man once celebrated as an NFL legend, media powerhouse, and charismatic ESPN commentator is now at the center of a legal firestorm that could obliterate everything he built. Forget touchdowns and TV ratings. This scandal has bulldozed through the very foundation of his reputation.
I haven't seen anything. I don't know anything. I don't even know this person.
Shannon Sharpe is facing a new lawsuit accused of SA and battery and engaging in intentional infliction of emotional distress.
This is not a criminal case. So there is no concern about him going to jail.
It all exploded when Gabriella Zuniga dropped a $50 million bombshell lawsuit accusing Sharpe of horrific behavior behind closed doors. We're talking about allegations of SA, psychological manipulation, and the secret recording of private moments, used allegedly as tools of control. And this isn't just some passing tabloid drama. The documents are detailed, the evidence is mounting, and the stakes couldn't be higher.
This is a civil case, which means that he could either be found liable or not liable.
But Shannon Sharpe, in case you don't know who he is, he played 14 seasons in the NFL with the Denver Broncos, the Baltimore Ravens. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2011.
The accuser in question is seeking $50 million. That was confirmed by Shannon Sharpe on that video today.
Sharpe's response? He came out swinging, labeling the entire thing a shakedown. But that word choice lit a firestorm of its own, raising eyebrows, sparking backlash, and leading to sharp criticism even from those closest to him at ESPN. And now, he's off the air, quiet, on pause, a move that screams damage control, no matter how his PR team tries to spin it. Because when a man known for his voice suddenly goes silent, people start listening even closer.
According to some audio that was put out earlier today by attorney Busby.
Remember his interview with comedian Cat Williams in January 2024 on Club Shay Shay? That helped spark, I should say, a renewed interest in Sean Diddy Combs and his alleged bad behavior.
Knowing that audio was probably going to come out along with additional tapes, whether they be video or audio is unclear at this particular moment in time, Shannon Sharpe felt compelled to come out in his own defense.
The legal documents from Gabriella Zuniga don't read like a standard lawsuit, they read like a horror story. According to her account, their relationship wasn't built on mutual trust, it was built on fear, coercion, and control.
Let me be very, very clear about where I'm coming from. I'm a bit torn in terms of his response.
On Instagram, he wrote in part, "I'm extremely proud to represent Jane Doe. It takes a great deal of courage to stand up against those with power, fame, and money. I look forward to pressing this case in court."
According to the lawsuit, the anonymous woman says it began as a consensual relationship when she was 20 years old. She also accuses Sharpe of in October of last year.
She claims that Shannon Sharpe, behind his media charm and polished suits, operated in the shadows with tactics straight, out of a psychological thriller. One of the most disturbing allegations? Zuniga says Sharpe repeatedly recorded their intimate encounters without her consent, then used those very recordings as leverage. Not only is that an invasion of privacy,
the complaint seeks more than $50 million in damages. Sharpe fired back, posting alleged texts from the woman in the lawsuit on social media. One of them reads, "I want you to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me with it while you're effing me."
Tony Busby is on this case, right? And
he's a Houston-based attorney.
Houston-based attorney.
Been here on The Factor several times.
Yes, and we've seen him file several lawsuits against the likes of P. Diddy, against Jay-Z.
It's a power play. She describes moments where Sharpe allegedly hinted, even threatened, that those recordings could be used against her. The implication? Keep quiet, comply, or risk exposure. But it gets worse. Within the complaint, Zuniga claims there's an audio recording where a voice, allegedly Sharpe's, can be heard making violent threats. The content of that tape hasn't been publicly released yet, but sources familiar with the case say it's chilling. One insider even described it as career-ending, the kind of thing no amount of PR spin could clean up. And while some might argue that lawsuits can be weaponized in celebrity culture, the sheer detail in Zuniga's filing, combined with this alleged audio evidence, has made people stop and reevaluate who Shannon Sharpe really is behind the scenes. And this is only the beginning. Shannon Sharpe didn't go down quietly. The moment the lawsuit hit the headlines, he and his legal team went into full-blown counteroffensive mode. According to Sharpe, the entire situation is nothing more than a targeted shakedown, a desperate grab for money, attention, and destruction of his character. He's not just denying the allegations, he's flipping the script entirely. Sharpe claims their relationship was not only consensual, but deeply mutual, at times even affectionate. To back this up, his legal team released a series of explicit text messages and screenshots. Messages they say prove that Zuniga was an eager participant in their dynamic. In Sharpe's eyes, those texts tell the real story. One of intimacy, not intimidation. But that strategy, it stirred up just as much controversy as the original allegations, because instead of silencing the noise, it amplified it. Critics argue that releasing private messages, especially of an explicit nature, feels more like a smear campaign than a legal defense. And while it may play well in the court of public opinion for some, others see it as a desperate and tone-deaf move, especially given the severity of what Zuniga alleges. Sharpe's framing of Zuniga as a woman out for a payday has sparked major backlash across social media. People are asking, is this a defense or a distraction? And more importantly, what does it say about the way high-profile figures try to control narratives when they're cornered? But Sharpe's boldest move wasn't just denying the claims, it was doubling down on his own innocence, while painting Zuniga as the villain in his story. And that's where things got even messier, because one of his closest allies didn't exactly back him the way many expected. Stephen A. Smith, the unshakable face of First Take, has never been one to hold back. But when it came to the Shannon Sharpe allegations, his reaction wasn't fire. It was restraint. And that silence, it spoke louder than any rant ever could. When Smith finally broke that silence, he didn't offer a full-throated defense. Shominip. Fact, his words caught people off guard. He said he was torn about the accusation, torn about the response, and torn about the way Sharpe was choosing to handle it all, instead of standing shoulder to shoulder with his co-host, Smith. Questioned the optics of Sharpe's response. He criticized the decision to release explicit messages, calling it reckless and potentially damaging, both legally and reputationally. And when Sharpe used the word shakedown in his statement, Smith didn't hold back. He said that term could come back to haunt him because here's the brutal truth. Smith understands how this game is played. He knows that in high-stakes media scandals, perception becomes reality. And to the public, Sharpe's aggressive defense didn't scream innocence. It screamed panic. Smith's reaction was a gut punch, not just to Sharpe, but to everyone watching who expected ESPN to close ranks and defend one of its biggest stars. Instead, Smith offered caution, not comfort. And in doing so, he cracked the illusion that Sharpe still had the full support of the network's biggest voice. Tio. Message was clear? Even allies have their limits when the pressure hits this hard. And behind the scenes, that pressure was only beginning to boil. The past has a way of catching up. And for Shannon Sharpe, it's not just catching up, it's dragging him down. In the wake of Gabriella Zuniga's explosive lawsuit, more voices have begun to rise. One of the most shocking came from Michelle Evans, a former girlfriend who claims that back in 2010, Sharpe essayed her and then threatened to destroy her life if she ever went public. According to Evans, Sharpe warned her that no one would believe her, and worse, that he had the power to end her if she talked. That allegation sat in silence for years. But now, with the spotlight burning hotter than ever, it's being dragged back into the public eye. And that's not all. Another disturbing chapter from Sharpe's past has also resurfaced, this time from inside the studios of FS1. Multiple reports allege that Sharpe once had a physical altercation with a female production assistant, including claims he choked her during an argument. The woman never filed a public suit, but insiders say the matter was swiftly and quietly handled, code for a private settlement with strings attached. That incident never made headlines back then. It was buried, like so many stories in sports media when the talent is too valuable to lose. But now, nothing is staying buried. Every suppressed whisper is turning into a scream. It's painting a chilling pattern, one that raises a brutal question. Are we looking at an isolated scandal, or the unraveling of a man who spent decades hiding behind charm, power, and a media machine willing to protect him? And unfortunately for Sharpe, the damage isn't just personal, it's financial, it's professional, and it's coming fast. Shannon. Sharpe isn't just facing public backlash, he's watching an empire crumble in real time. Behind the scenes, a massive podcast deal worth nearly $100 million is now hanging by a thread. What was supposed to be the next chapter of Sharpe's media dominance, an uncensored platform, brand partnerships, and legacy-building content, is reportedly frozen. Sponsors are pulling back, platforms are distancing themselves, and entertainment. Execs who once lined up to work with him are suddenly unavailable. But it's not just outside partnerships that are shaky. Inside ESPN, things are just as chaotic. The network has launched an internal review into Sharpe's conduct, but they're being tight-lipped, refusing to make any definitive statement on his future. That silence, it's not neutral, it's tactical. Because according to insiders, executives are scrambling to decide whether Sharpe is too toxic to keep or too big to fire, and the backlash isn't just aimed at him. Former ESPN employees have come out swinging, accusing the network of hypocrisy and selective outrage. They're pointing to past scandals, where less powerful figures were dropped instantly, and calling out ESPN's slow, cautious handling of the Sharpe crisis. One former producer called it corporate cowardice wrapped in PR. For a man who once controlled every room he walked into, Sharpe is now the one being controlled by lawsuits, headlines, legal teams, and boardroom decisions he can't spin his way out of. Because when your brand is built on dominance, and your dominance is under fire, every crack becomes a collapse waiting to happen, and collapse is exactly what's coming next. As legal proceedings unfold, Sharpe's future remains uncertain. The allegations have not only cast a shadow over his personal life, but also threatened to eclipse his professional achievements. With the court of public opinion weighing heavily, the coming months will be pivotal in determining whether Sharpe can reclaim his standing or if this marks the end of his storied career. Shannon Sharpe's journey from NFL legend to media personality has been marked by charisma and controversy. Now, facing serious allegations and mounting scrutiny, he stands at a crossroads. The outcome of these legal battles will not only shape his legacy, but also serve as a cautionary tale in the world of sports and media